We are live, jumping in, working out the technology kinks. Hello and welcome to this special edition of Give Voice to Your Vision. I get to talk with our dear friend, colleague, amazing shaman, astrologer, brilliant coach, Verdarluz today. And he's going to talk with us about how knowing your numbers and your astrology and your human design can help you accelerate your income and impact. Hello, my dear friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. So there's a lot of energy swirling and moving right now. So
There for
I'm sure
sure is.
everyone's doing, but happy holidays to everyone. And I hope
Excellent.
everyone, yeah.
So we're going to dive right in. If you're here watching, your tuition for this free, inspirational, educational conversation is to comment, to share. Let us know that you're here. I'm still looking at the adjusted technology, but we're going to be doing our best to see where you're from. If you're here on the Facebook page, comment below. If you have questions, I'm going to do my best to get those answered for you today. If you're watching on YouTube, share your comments and takeaways for sure. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is such a powerful time of year for our conversation. I'm so glad that we made it happen. Want to talk a little bit about the swirling energies. Hello, Laura's here from Wisconsin. It's good to see you, Laura. Just a little bit to ground us, perhaps, Mr. Shaman, Healer, Amazing Man, to ground us into the potency of this year and help us focus for the call today, for this session today.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to invite everyone. Maybe we can just all take a breath together. I know, again, the energy's been moving a lot in a lot of different directions. And so I invite everyone to close their eyes and just connect with their guides, their higher self, angel, spirit, totem, and just harness that energy here today, that wisdom and that empowerment. As we just take a peek into some of the cycles ahead, how best we can harmonize with them, navigate with them, and use some of these tools to enhance our business, our relationships, and life as we emerge into 2023. So breathing into our heart space, and let's send that prayer out to all beings, I hope.
Yeah, thank you. And so, how does this help us accelerate our income and impact? Just even the simple grounding that we have done. You want to share a little bit about that for us?
Well, I would say that the first thing for everyone to realize, I think one of the most important cycles to talk about right now, and as the year begins, it is very swirling, and it's called Mars retrograde, Mars in Gemini. You know, Gemini is an air sign, and Mars is a planet that rules our desires, what we want, what we drive towards, our motivations, and when our motivations are being questioned through a retrograde, then we're like, do I really want what's happening right now? You know, I can feel kind of hesitant about the direction I'm going. I can feel disoriented, very common right now. A lot of my clients in that space, confused. And, you know, that can feel quite overwhelming. This is a clarifying time. It's not the clear time. The clearer time will come in the beginning, towards the middle of January. But we do need to know that just as Mars retrograde is going to end it's about the 10th of January. Let me pull up the exact date. But just as that's happening, we also have Mercury retrograde at that time. And so we're ending the year and beginning the year with a Mars and a Mercury retrograde. So that does not feel like I know where I'm going, right? Or that I can really kind of feel confident moving forward, or even in some of the negotiations I'm having with people, or, you know, my plans, my structures, my business. So, you know, if you're feeling that, you're right on time. It's okay. But it's really important to note that, you know, there will be some clarity coming more around Mars going direct around January 13th, and then Mercury won't go direct until January 19th. And so we look at the first few weeks of January feeling like a lot of questioning, and also Mercury will be in Capricorn for his entire retrograde cycle. He's already in Capricorn. Now that's actually quite good for us, to be restructuring our businesses, to look at the systems that we have in place, what's working, what's not, what feels stable, what feels, like it's quaking, it's not quite, certain, and maybe I need to reformulate. And so it can be such a great time actually to reverse engineer and move forward with like, let me look at it a year from now, and let me really start to um, reverse engineer my vision and look at, okay, if I want to be there a year from now, wherever that there is, in terms of my business, my relationships, every area of my life, what do I need to start doing now, and kind of maybe, restructure or create a new kind of model around. It could be a time where a lot of us are restructuring a business model, actually. I
That's
wouldn't be
been
surprised.
the song that I've been singing for the last, 4 months rigorously, and heading into like designing your business to create what you want. So can we zoom back a little bit, because you
Yeah.
have such a depth and breadth of knowledge around the details of how these elements are affecting us right now. But do you have any examples? I'm putting you on the spot. Do you have any examples of like clients who have had your support? Because I know from working with you that what my particular map of, I know, and not only are we in the astrology master, but the human design, which I only really kind of dabble in with you and other clients who are in that. So like, how do these modalities, and knowing that the Mars is in retrograde and Mercury is going to be in retrograde, and what this means for you, how has that impacted what we do now? Because one of my resistances to designs and assessments and methodologies or approaching for like how we are is that I change and evolve. So do you have any examples you could share with us, case studies of a client who has, by having support to customize this information and the interpretation of their map with what's going on in everywhere, has actually helped them to know what to do in times of indecision, or clarify and do that? Do you have anything you could share with us just to help us get another understanding of how these things can really help us to grow and accelerate, as you say, in life, relationship and business? I think they're all one and the same, but
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I have a client I've been working with for about 6 months now, 5 months, and she actually has a strong Gemini signature in her chart. So she wrote to me, it was like before our last session, about just feeling really spun out, and with this Mars energy, which can again keep us very restless, irritable, combative, competitive, And so we looked at, okay, well, Mars is actually trying to step you into your leadership, really get you fired up about what, your passion and how you want to be like promoting that in the world. So I got
nice,
into this conversation with her about like her mission,
nice,
which is Mars can be the missionary, you know. And
for
so
sure.
if this is happening really strong in your chart, you're in that moment of like, really like, what is my mission, and what do I want to stand for? What do I want to fight for, And so there's another thing going on with this Mars, and then I'll talk about human design for a moment. And we talked about this, me and my client, and it's Mars is in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is the storyteller, and in the world of business, wears many masks, but one of them is, of course, the marketer. Like, how do we take our
Yeah,
message and how do we share that with the world? And this is where we're all learning that, okay, there are a million different ways of doing these things, or different
that's right.
platforms.
That's right.
And a million is going to distract me, scatter me,
That's
exhaust
right.
me, bring anxiety. So what we need to do is actually come back to ourselves and know ourselves deeper. And that's what this Mars retrograde is asking. Like, who am I really as a teacher, messenger, marketer, storyteller? And this is where the reflection of the astrology chart that you were born with, your horoscope, as well as your human design, gives you the vocabulary for approaching your marketing. And so,
So
for instance,
powerful. Just like breathe, because that you just answered like, and I looked at our Facebook friendship. We've been friends for 4 years. And that's like the clearest it's kind of come home for me. All of coaching and what I sell in my business is customization, helping you find your voice, your message, right? And so that's the most clear it's ever been for me, in how having these systems to know yourself deeper can directly impact your business, your income, and your marketing. And I'll tell you for 100% sure, that's how I see my clients and now their clients getting the 5-figure months and the 5-figure contracts and the consistent sales and growing. It is in showing up fully in alignment with who they are. And these are two really powerful ancient, at least astrology is ancient. I don't know how ancient human design is, but
very new.
yeah, that's what I thought. So, but they're modalities, are effective, proven modalities for you to know yourself deeper. And then, and having mentorship and guidance with you as a master of these modalities and others, you can help someone go even deeper with that, right? Knowing yourself and then having that ability to say, okay, this is how it's resonating. This is what's, and work through it with someone allows me to then do that reverse engineering much more awakened to both the truth of who I am and what's optimal for me to do right now. Right? That's huge.
Right now is a really important thing because this cycle is making us aware of a lot of, all of our gifts, the many hats we can wear. What we're really passionate. We have a lot of passions, but we can't do all of them simultaneously. And so we have to be willing to iterate and reiterate and try and experiment. And be very compassionate with ourselves as things don't work, but we're learning in the process. Now, with the human design, I just had a client I worked with here. I'm in Madeira in Portugal, and at a digital nomad conference. And this client I was working with, he's a projector type like I am, and projectors are really known as. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Our live stream just started talking on another screen. I apologize. That was you talking back to us. Go ahead.
So I was just, I was saying he's a projector, which is like the advisor type in human design. It's only about 20% of the population. But
my
as
son,
we said,
I recently learned. Yikes.
Yeah. And it's a very different way of approaching the world and working with our energy, because we can't actually push out into the world like, say, manifesting generators can or manifestors can. And we don't have a lot of sustaining energy, but what we do have is a lot of wisdom, a lot of counsel that we can give, but we need this kind of invitation to share it. And so as a marketing strategy for projectors in general, now it gets more specific depending on what we call your inner authority, but as a general marketing strategy, projectors need to align themselves and ally themselves with people who see them, who get that they have a certain insight that can be valuable to their community or to themselves as an individual or as a coach or a teacher, whatever that person is doing. So they need to find the right people. They also need to take a lot of time to regenerate themselves on their own. And they can't just push from the very beginning of the day to the very end and just do it again the next day. But it looks like they should do that because a lot of people are doing that, right? And that's where they're going to get very burnt out if they try to approach their business with that kind of like very young, just do it attitude, And he was like really moved by this also because a lot of his chart is split between a lot more mental centers and a more emotional center. And he watches himself actually get very philosophical about things, think about things for a long time, but actually his truth is coming from his emotions. And emotions take a lot of time. And an emotional clarity is very different than let me think about it.
Yeah.
It's a very different kind of vibration, like a resonance inside of you. Okay, I felt kind of like excited about this and not so excited, kind of down. But now I'm at this moment of clarity and I can say yes, or I could say no, my energy is going to be fulfilled doing this or not. And for him, that was just, the light bulb going off, like a lot of like reflection for what he's seen in his life. But then we had to talk about, well, how do I negotiate, between those different parts of myself and then apply that, towards how he's building his business.
Yeah, have an integrated strategy or approach, the for now integrated strategy and approach. And then knowing that that's always going to evolve, which is exactly what I'm helping people do with their message and their marketing. We can't, and getting visible, right? Beating yourself up. I should be doing more. I've got to do this. They did it this way, doing it all the different ways. You've already touched on so many things that I talk about all the time. not through the lens of these particular modalities that you're a master of, but worth repeating that if you're doing everything everywhere pulled in a million different directions, you probably need high level support. That's the one thing that I have seen we set about this summer talking to hundreds, literally having messenger and real conversations to hundreds of coaches, healers, uplifters. And across the board, I've invested a whole bunch of money and I'm not getting results. I'm doing 62 different things, trying to get everything, and I don't know what I should do more of or less of. A lot of times so busy doing or stuck behind the scenes. Like I've got to get all the behind the scenes figured out before I can be open for business, and not knowing what to do, and not factoring in what I call your unique frequency factor. Like, how are you resonating with what do you need to do, and leaving your voice and your energetic presence out of it, right? We dismiss that. We often devalue that when that's actually our most valuable asset. And it's actually part of the most valuable thing we provide to clients and our audience. So this is big. And you are just reflecting these great two specific examples of how having you be able to help them see how these two patterns and things, along with what's going on in the bigger picture, can help them to clarify. So what am I doing right now? And I want to reiterate what you said, because I believe it all day long. And that is that you must be compassionate with yourself. Like beating yourself up and feeling like, what's wrong with me? I got to figure this out. It shouldn't be this hard. I need to do it better, which I think we all do on some level, no matter how successful we get or where we are in our business or our personal development. And all day long, it is self-forgiveness and self-compassion that will heal you, and everything else creates resistance. So I love that you say that, and that you're bringing these two particular modalities to help us sometimes understand or get a new perspective on why things are going that way or where we're at. But in understanding that perspective, we can have an approach, a mental, emotional doing approach to move forward in a way that feels empowered and aligned. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, as we go into the new year, coming in March, we have a big shift, a couple big shifts coming. I mean, these are massive because Saturn is changing signs from Aquarius into Pisces, from an air sign into a water sign. And it's going to be, for a lot of us, it may dissolve certain structures that we've taken for granted in our lives. And at the same time, it's an invitation to cultivate. With Saturn, it's always about cultivation, concentration, effort, hard work, persistence, responsibility. Around Pisces, well, Pisces is very artistic, imaginative, intuitive, empathic. So we're talking about, a planet that's very business-like, Saturn, right? I mean, he's the ruler of structures in life, discipline, and we associate him with the institutions of the world. But then he's in this very mystical, magical, mythical sign. And so we're looking at, hey, I do need to integrate my archetypes, my dream world, moving my body, dance, or like painting into actually what kind of structures I'm building in my life or my business. And so it's really asking all of us to develop our intuitive gifts and these more archetypal languages, mythical languages, and seeing how these storylines are playing out through us and how best we can live those out. That's a big shift. And then the other big shift that's coming is Pluto. Pluto's moving into Aquarius. Now, this is massive because Pluto takes like sometimes 20 years in a sign. And so when Pluto changes sign, which he did in 2008, we all know what happened in 2008. He moved into Capricorn, and right away, Capricorn structures, real estate, everything around money, everything, collapsed, changed. And it began a new era for us, and an era where these Capricornian institutions like government and banking and these systems and structures we kind of like always relied on just started to fall apart, right? And also those in authority, Capricorn, we saw their shadow, Pluto. Now we're going to see the shadow in the sign of Aquarius, which has to do with things like technology. Are we too addicted, right? You're going to see that addiction increase. You're going to see some people like really take responsibility and get off of that, but you have the biggest platform right now is TikTok, and this is just constant
Scroll, the 6-second
feeding,
scroll.
right? And if you think about that as a marketing tool, it's also a constant feed. And where are we going to be in relationship to our technology? How do we want to innovate ourselves and invent ourselves and be willing to reiterate or iterate upon structures we've built? This is very Aquarian. We have to have a vision. We have to have an ideal that kind of supports us moving forward and be willing to experiment with it. But in this process, we will see that some of these kind of collective social agreements we've made, or maybe not made, but kind of just bought into, like social media and things like that, we're going to see a dark shadow with them, and we're going to have to reorient our relationship to that.
That's amazing. So I just want to recap for folks who may be dropping in and joining us. Hi, if you're here, say hello. I'm going to check our comments. So we had talked about these top 3 major astrological cycles, and I think that you've covered them all. Would you do a quick recap of those for us and just how they're going to maybe like, is there like one practical question we could ask ourselves, or one element that we could look at in relation to each one to start to be more empowered about how we're making decisions, right? About what, like right now, people are, what are you investing in for next year? What are you going to do differently from next year? Like, just because the astrology is in one place and there's like a wave of confusion or uncertainty, as you've said, doesn't mean that we're going to stop making decisions and stop growing our business and stop going into, create the impact and answer our calling. And in business, that means creating revenue, and it means creating visibility to create revenue. So I would love for you to recap these top 3 cycles that you've already touched on here beautifully. And maybe if there's like one question we can ask, or one thing, one perspective we could explore for each one to make our decisions that we need to be making now. Maybe you can't.
So,
maybe that's oversimplification, but yeah.
No. I mean, definitely as the year ends and then begins, it's a question of like, what in my life is happening right now that I don't see as part of my future, but it's happening. And what do I need to change to release that, let go of that, shift that, so that what I'm doing is what I want to be doing, like 100% what I want to be doing. The people I'm speaking to, the conversations I'm having, the services I'm providing, the places I'm living, all of those things, that it's really feeling like it's in alignment, and it's part of a longer term sense of calm and ease, and where I can, return to myself on a daily basis, not create more anxiety for myself. So that would be definitely.
I gotta say, if you're watching this, if you come back and watch the replay, if you're here now, like, are you approaching your business decisions and how you get up in the morning and what you think about all day and the choices you make about who you interact with and what you spend your time, energy, resources, attention, focus, money on, from the perspective of even acknowledging and knowing, like, is this something I want? Because that's a big shift right there for many people. We get up and we hit the time to make the donuts routine, right? For you people under whatever, if you don't know about the Winchell's donut guy, you can YouTube him, time to make the donuts. And so absolutely making decisions about the business that you make, the amount you're going to charge, the offers you're going to create, the visibility you're going to have, the way you're going to show up, from like, is this something I want? And there's a push-pull for a lot of people. So around like even wanting, right? We sometimes don't even let ourselves want. So you're also pointing out that these powerful platforms are tools for us to tune into, clarify, own what we want to be doing. And that is the secret to prosperity and fulfillment. 100%. No matter what anybody told you ever anyway, we think, oh, I'll be happy when I get some more clients, or I'll be good when I get 1,000 people in my group, or I'll be, okay when I have this relationship or that health, or I'm in this place. But the fact of the matter is, it starts with this deep work, and it doesn't have to be hard or take a long time if you're willing to have the guides and the support.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And that the there's something about the capacity in each of us, like really looking at our own capacity. And of course, we're infinite, eternal beings. And yet, you know, where again, what do we really, 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 really want?
Tell
and
me what you
you know,
want, what you really, really want.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that kind of like awareness of like success. I think over the last couple of years, a lot of us have been questioning what that really means for us. And so this, as we approach the new year, that question comes up, like, what would my most successful 2023 look like? And it might, the answer to that, when you really ask it, might look very different than maybe when you asked it a year ago about this year. You know, it might not be a bunch of money. It might be more spaciousness in your calendar. It might be less time on screen. It might be, you know, more creative processes. So really checking in with like what feels like the best version of me, the most holistic, spiritually connected, empowered, like what is that going to look like this year? And being honest with ourselves, because and then taking the steps to get there. There's something very strong about Saturn and Pisces coming to that cycle. It's a law of attraction, and then it's putting into action
Yes.
what you've attracted. So I've attracted this. Now I got to act upon it to manifest that vision into form. And
Inspired
that,
action. Yep.
yeah, exactly. That's a great tagline for that
So
transit.
great. I mean, I'm talk about implementation happens through transformation happens through implementation, but we can't just take action. So the three steps of transformation, awareness, you're talking about this deep awareness. And sometimes I'll say guided awareness. We can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Yeah.
We're meant to do this together. That's why I've restructured over the last couple of years. Everything I do is high level, high touch, small group, implementation focused support, because words don't teach. Going out and studying another thing isn't what you need to do. You need to be able to tune in, elevate your own desire and frequency and self-trust, and then implement. So awareness, deep awareness, acceptance, which isn't like, oh, it's going to be like, it's not resignation, right? Acceptance is like, this is what it is. This is what it is, and like a deep embodying appreciative acceptance, being in appreciation of what is. And then action, awareness, acceptance, action, but not just I'm a recovering overdoer. All right. I'm an action taker. Like I will hustle all day long, 5 a.m. standing in line in 32 degrees for my open call on New York City streets for years. Right.
Yeah.
Like I will hustle. And what that hustle did is it kicked the can down the road. It made it further away from me because I was doing so much. I like to say God couldn't get a word in edgewise. The universe couldn't help me because I was so busy, right? And so it's inspired action, awareness, acceptance, inspired action. And inspiration is something you receive. To inspire is to breathe in. It's not something that you go out and get, right? And in these tools, what you're talking about is a way to tune in deeply to the nature of who you are with a guide and allow inspiration. And in order to allow it, in order to receive prosperity, clarity, success, whatever it is, we have to soften and open up, right? We have to breathe it in. And so this is really powerful work. I'm thrilled to share you with my community. I think that we've covered the basics of what I promised that we would cover, but I know before we hopped on that you said that you've opened up some spots for people to actually work with you, to do like an individual consult, where you would help them to tell us a little bit about what that would look like. And then I'll find the link. And for those of you who are ready to get clear, take action, invest in yourself with this time and this thoughtfulness and having this high level sounding board diviner to help you see how your puzzle goes, then I would encourage you to go ahead and work with Verdarluz. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the Unleash Your Genius session and what's possible for people there, and I'll find the link.
Yeah, it's a strategy session that's a very focused coaching session. So you come with one or two focused questions. Maybe it's about your business or relationships, an area, and we do some laser coaching. I will comment about something in an astrological cycle or your human design that really tunes right to that question. And then we see like, how is this part of a larger vision that's unfolding for you this year? So we're also clarifying in that process, like how this genius wants to be unleashed in the year ahead. And then we may talk about like, okay, well, what might be some other supportive work for that? Is it more human design, astrology? Is it, business modeling? Is it breath work? It could be a lot of different things. But that session is really set up to give you some laser coaching and then focused movement forward.
Awesome. Awesome. And so at that time, if they chose to invest that time in that session, then you would also be able to tell them what you would recommend in terms of which of these modalities or what to focus on, so that they would know what next investments to make, what made most sense for them, and how to focus. That could be really powerful. And you have a few spots open for people can still do that this year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me post this link. It's loading. So there, I believe that's posted on YouTube, and I'll check the, and it's on the business page. So if you are joining us from my Power Up Your Presence community, if not, you are welcome to join us in there. There's lots of free trainings, and we take very good care of you with special opportunities for clarity. We give you resources based exactly on what you need in order to create consistent revenue, get visible in an aligned, inspired way, clear blocks and fears around being seen and heard, and leverage all that you've studied in your business into real revenue. So that is available to you. It's a free community. If you're watching from in there, Facebook has changed the way it interfaces with StreamYard. So I will be popping in there, making sure this link is under the video in there. I'm not sure exactly how it's showing up in the group right now. Verdarluz, thank you so much. I adore you, and I think you're so amazing. And I'm so grateful for how you've helped me in my life and business, and appreciate the opportunity to share you with the community.
Thank you, because you're helping so many people. You have for so long.
Thank you.
You've helped me a lot with all of our chats. And I just, I think that visibility, like every one of us needs to be seen, in this coming year. And it can be done in a way that feels really resonant for us as an individual.
Has to be. And when we're in the push-pull of I should be and I'm not, then that energy is creating resistance, right? So how can we soften around that and expand into that? Quick other awesome chat. Thanks, Lauren. Great to have you with us. Anything, I was going to give you the parting words, Mr. Verdarluz. Knowing what's coming, and knowing where we're at right in this moment, and that people are thinking about end of the year, hopefully taking stock of real numbers and being grown-up business owners and saying, how much money did I create? What did I do? And what am I going to look to create in the new year? And what needs to change? That's the question I've been asking. What do you need to do differently? And knowing what's going on in the realm of the stars as you do. Do you have like a top one or two parting thoughts for us, things we can focus on to really leverage this time?
Well, right now, this week, I would connect with the dream world. I would do some spontaneous journaling. I would pull cards. Why? Because the sun is square Neptune. And so it's a time where the answers are not coming in a linear way. They're coming in a much more intuitive way. Omens, signs, symbols, names, numbers. So pay attention to those kinds of things. Like if there's a particular image in a dream, look that up, see before you look it up, see how it feels inside of you, draw about it, dance about it. This is sort of like a peek into what's happening this next year, where we have to really listen with a greater intuition. And if your intuition is telling you like, I got to work with this person, right? Or I gotta move my home, or I got to do this, like really tuning to that right now. That's really, really important. And, not doubting that, just trusting. It's a year of we can test our faith, and faith is something that we have to, it's a muscle.
It is a muscle. It's a practice. It's an implementation practice. That's great. I'll share it. I love what you said about doubt, because that is the thing that keeps us separate from the truth of who we are. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons for us to doubt. And I was sharing with my mastermind, my high level mentoring group that I'm a part of with my mentor, and this summer, and I really had to put a pause in everything I was doing because I didn't feel aligned, and it was scary. And it was, some of it was based in doubt. And I realized I'm actually, as we speak, on retreat. We're doing a virtual retreat right now. I'm on a little break from it. And one of the biggest takeaways for me this year is that I wore out my doubt. I just like wore it out. I was like, can no longer tolerate doubt. It's just like, can't do it anymore. And there was a great surrender and softening. It's not that it won't come up again, but this, like, I'm a badass. And I have like wholehearted, enthusiastic, like push up my sleeves. I was like, I'm going to climb into your kitchen window and like help you do this energy. And to trust that and to value that, and then to move forward a pace, right?
Yeah.
It's powerful what you shared.
Thank you for that last.
All right. Yeah. So there's a link here to work with Verdarluz in a single deep dive, laser focused session to see what makes most sense for you to move forward. I'm sure at that point, if you resonate with Verdarluz and want to know more about the different modalities that he's able to support you with, he'll let you know. They are deep, and there are several, and they are powerful. So be supported in your decision making. Trust yourself, invest in yourself, and make decisions. Staying in the indecision elevates your anxiety. And right now, I know, Verdarluz, you're offering this single session way to go deep. I've opened some sessions to help people just get clear, because waiting, hesitating, staying in indecision sucks you dry. So get the support you need to make some decisions, trust yourself, and then what you said, implement inspired action. So good to be with you. Thank you again for being here. And I look forward to our next conversation. Reach out and talk. Yeah, reach out and connect with Verdarluz, you guys. He's amazing. Love you. And I will see you on next week's, actually on Thursday's regular Give Voice to Your Vision. And I can't wait. Thanks for being here, man.
Happy holidays. Take care.
Happy holidays.